What I want you to do is start living by design. I want you to have a definition of what success is in your life. So one of the things I'm going to be asking you to do as we move through living by design is figuring out what your payoffs are. Look for things you do in pattern and then say, what am I getting out of this? Healthy, sick, otherwise, what's my payoff? Because when you identify the payoff, then you can control the currency. And when you control the currency, then you control you. Once you know what your payoff is, you can turn that spigot on and you can turn that spigot off, and that will change what you're doing. It will change how you're living. Whatever you do, whoever you are, do that on purpose. Don't just be who you are, live whatever life you live by accident. I mean, come on, own it. You get to the end of your life and somebody says, what did you do with your life? At least say, whatever I did it on purpose. Live by design. Make a plan and choose what you're doing. And what I want to do here, when we finish this series, I want you to have a plan that you can get excited about. That's what I'm wanting you to do. That's why I want you to listen to this fill in the blank series about you, because I want us to come away with a plan that you can get excited about. Now, here's what I want you to do. Write down today's date, but put next year. Put this day and this month, but put next year. I'm going to tell you why. Because I want that in your calendar so this time next year, you look at that date and you remember me telling you today that 1 year from today, your life is going to be better or worse than it is today. It's not going to be the same. You're going to be happier, sadder, richer or poorer, fatter or skinnier, married or divorced, but it is not going to be the same. Your life is going to be better or worse a year from now than it is right now. And a huge part of that is going to be a function of choices you make between now and then. And let me give you some bad news. Now that you've heard me say that, you're totally screwed. You cannot not choose, because not choosing is a choice. Think about it this way. Picture a crossroads out in the middle of the country. Okay? A big crossroads out in the middle of the country. Think about it. It's just two highways crossing each other in the middle of the country. And you come to that crossroads. What are your choices? You can go straight ahead. You can make a U-turn and go back. You can turn left, or you can turn right, or you can say, nope, not going to choose, just going to stand right here in the middle of the intersection and just let life run right over me. Well, that's your fifth choice, but you cannot not choose. You are going to make choices, and I'm just saying, own them. Since you're going to make a choice anyway, you might as well make a conscious choice. So I'm just saying, let's get active about some things. Let's get active about choosing. Don't just kind of choose by not choosing. Since you're going to make the choices anyway, do it on purpose. Live on purpose. Be on purpose. I'm going to give you some things to help you. The first book I wrote was back in, 98. I don't know, you probably can't even buy it anymore. So I'm going to put it on the website, the things I'm talking about, so you don't have to. But I wrote something called Life Strategies. And in Life Strategies, I talked about the 10 laws of life. When I talk about laws, I'm not talking about tendencies or guidelines. Like, these are things that happen sometimes and sometimes they don't. I'm talking about laws. And when you talk about laws, it's like the laws of physics. What's a law of physics? Gravity. Gravity's a law of physics. It's there every day. It's a law. You have it. It's a law of gravity. You don't get up some mornings and say, do I want gravity today or not? It's there every day. Give it a try. Go step on the edge of your roof and step off and see if gravity's there every day. You can test it out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's going to be there every day. And you're going to figure that out just as you hit the ground. It's a law. It's not a guideline, not a trend. It's not a tendency. And there are laws of life that are the same way. Now, in case you're unbelievably concrete, I really don't mean go get on your roof and step off and test gravity. I'm just using it as an example. What do they say? Don't try this at home. Don't go step off your roof. I'm just using that as an example. You know what? I wrote the first law of life when I was 16 years old. Now, I'm not some prodigy. I didn't at 16 say, oh, here's the first law of life. But in looking back, I learned the first law of life when I was 16 years old. I was working at Hallmark Cards in Kansas City. Y'all probably know Hallmark's based in Kansas City, and I was working at Hallmark Cards in Kansas City. I was on the 4 to midnight shift, and my job was to tear stuff up. They were really big into human resources back then, so they matched personalities to jobs. They gave me a sledgehammer and a dumpster, and I was supposed to tear shit up. I came in every day, put these dies that they printed the cards from on the corner of a dumpster and hit it with a 3-pound sledgehammer. That was my job. I thought, how long could this job last? How many could they have? I think they had about 10 million of them. And they said, okay, now you're not going to have supervision because you're here from 4 to midnight and it's really noisy. We're going to put you off in this warehouse. You're mature enough to work without supervision, are you? I looked at him like, I can't believe you even asked me that. Are you kidding me? So as soon as they leave, I have a buddy come down and we decide we're going to build a hot rod. And I'm talking, now, guys, you're going to love this. 1966 Chevelle Super Sport 396, 375 horse. We had a custom manifold sitting on top of this engine with 3 Holley carburetors on it. We had headers, some cheater slicks on the back, and if you rolled this car backwards just a little bit and popped the clutch, you could pull the front wheels off the ground about 4 inches. We would go out at midnight and find people, and we would race them. We treated stupidity like it was a virtue. Now, because this was stupid, it would be indiscreet for me to name my friend, Steve Dillman. We would go up and down Main Street and Broadway in downtown Kansas City at 120 miles an hour, trying to sucker people into racing us. So on this given night, we're flying down there. It's the Christmas holidays, and we each have a buddy in town. And we're flying along there and look in the rearview mirror, and there is a cop on our bumper at 120 miles an hour in downtown Kansas City. Now, this is when they had M Squad. You're too young to remember, but they used to have a TV show called M Squad, Metro Squad. These were the badass cops. We look in the rearview mirror, and this cop is on our bumper. And when I say on our bumper, you couldn't have gotten a gum wrapper between his bumper and ours. This was an era where they didn't like stay in the car, call for backup, fill out a bunch of paperwork. No, they pull us over, say, get out. So just as they pull us over, Steve's buddy from out of town slithers out the back window and runs between the buildings. He takes off. I'm thinking, oh God, this isn't good. This cop lines us up like crows on a clothesline. We're standing at attention beside the car. And he walks up to Dillman and says, all right, I'm going to ask you one time, what's the name of that boy that run off? And Dillman looks him straight in the eye and says, yeah, well, his name was Sam Sausage. What of it? Oh my God, I'm thinking that cop hit him so hard, I thought it broke my nose. He dropped him like 100-pound rock. Bam, right there on the asphalt. Now, here's the problem. The next guy in line is my friend, and then I'm next. And the problem is, neither of us know that guy's name. He's run off, and the only person that knows his name is unconscious on the pavement. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm coming up next here. I wish I knew his name. I'd give him his social security number. I'd give him his fingerprints. I'd give him whatever he wanted. But no chance. He steps up to my friend next and he says, all right, I'm going to ask you one damn time. What's the name of that boy that run off? Well, my friend, having somewhat of a brain, says, sir, if I may, I swear on my mother's grave. We had just had lunch with her that afternoon. She was not dead. He says, I swear on my mother's grave, I do not know that young man's name, but I can promise you it ain't Sam Sausage. I don't know his name, but it ain't Sam Sausage. Now, right then, bam, I wrote life law number 1. You either get it or you don't. Dillman, who's kissing the pavement, he don't get it. My friend and I, who are still vertical and still have all of our dental work, we get it. You don't mess with somebody like this. We get it. And I wrote the first law of life right then. I didn't know it at the time, but in retrospect, I figured out that night you either get it or you don't. Now, don't you know people in your life who don't get it? I'll give you a minute. Make a list. Maybe you start with your in-laws. I don't know, but don't you know people who just don't get it? They just stumble through life. They just don't seem to know where they're going. They ask asinine questions. They do stupid stuff over and over again. I don't want you to be one of those people. So what is it I want you to get? I want you to get that you need to take care of you so you can take care of other people. I want you to take care of you so you can be a gift to your family. I want you to not be one of those people that stumbles around in life. I want you to be one of the people that says there is a consequence to every behavior, and I get that. So when I choose the behavior, I realize I choose the consequence.